So what I did is I hired a tutor. They might give my lesson to her for as an audience, and she would keep notes. Every class would come in a 1 hour lesson. And she would give feedback. And then I'd go in and get more. Correct. My students literally just we said Chinese.
Đạo xếp không à.
Cao xếp đây là giáo sư rất giỏi bằng nghiên cứu liên quan vấn đề về kỹ thuật này kia phát động.
Lát phải làm quen mới được, cái lát phải làm quen mới được. Giỏi quá.
Rồi giờ ông muốn làm coi như là có tầm 50 mấy đứa PC rồi đó.
Bác này nhìn thấy thôi là mình biết ngay là bác là rất là trọng lượng đấy.
Mà bác này rồi
nhưng mà
bác đó
nhiên cũng lâu.
Là cái học bổng của remix nó yêu cầu
cái chương trình steering á,
biết đi nó hỏi mình có làm không.
truyền thông của đọc
Ra chưa?
Chưa.
Xong rồi bác
Hay là cái bài em học.
Em nghĩ là anh DBA
đấy cho nên là thôi kết nối
Nó chủ là nghiên cứu style,
nghiên cứu mà
từ ngữ
nó làm mình cô hết. Bây giờ bữa giờ anh cho
GPA thì nó apply
này đúng rồi,
nó thực dụng.
nó 2 năm 1 3 năm
Sao ba mẹ dùng nó ổn không?
ai
Ba mẹ dùng.
ok đó là cái đòi mua đó.
Còn có hiếu mà làm gì đâu.
Ủa Minh là nó làm gì đó, nó biết anh học ở đâu?
Minh là nó xưa nó về Việt Nam, nó ở nước ngoài về, nó biết mình, nó gọi mình bà chú mà.
Biết rồi, nhưng mà ý là nó biết anh qua cái gì biết qua gì vậy đó.
Trực tiếp direct luôn.
Là biết
Sao biết mình mình nó về đây nó làm cái này mà nó dân static mà.
Thì nó học y khoa
Rồi cái ở Campuchia
doanh cho anh em, anh thấy rõ ràng không? Mình tạo điều kiện giúp cho anh em nó phát triển kinh doanh, nó có nhiều nó sẽ bay.
India and education are a state partner from Vietnam. When it comes to students coming from Vietnam, I cannot say enough how important and how outstanding they are, since many of them are business professionals, industry leaders, and experts in their field, which adds a tremendous value to all of our, but especially MBA programs.
Congratulations to the new MBA students in Vietnam. Wishing you all great success on this journey to grow and learn. We are excited to have you as a part of global activities. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SSBM Expert Talk, the impact of climate change on the mental health. And my name is Ngọc Anh. It is my honor to host this event. The Swiss School of Business and Management, SSBM, is the global and innovative institution recognized as the top private business school in Switzerland, with operations in 6 countries and diverse student body from over 150 nationalities. SSBM upholds the highest standards of education. And in SSBM Vietnam, we serve as an exclusive national agent offering executive education programs, including mini MBA, MBA and DBA. And at NSBM Vietnam, we acknowledge the value of academic extends beyond any other lectures to encompass the vital networking and knowledge sharing opportunities, both nationality and internationality. This commitment informs the design of our programs and events such as today's hybrid seminar. And once again, welcome everyone. Attending to the event, please welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Matthew Hibberd. On behalf of Board of Industry Managers, respectfully introduce, please welcome Dr. Biến Động. Please welcome Dr. Nguyễn Xuân Mỹ. And please welcome Dr. John Becker. Please welcome Mr. Mã Thành Nhân. We would like to welcome our VIP guests.
of SSBM. I will actually be in Geneva next week, so maybe I can visit the headquarters there as well. I'm here today because I'm undertaking some research, and I'm just going to give you an introduction to my research today, and then we will have a question and answer session. So if we can get the presentation running, I will get out your way. So I've written this with the support of my PhD student, Paola. Some feedback. And basically can you hear me if I just speak like this?
Good,
yes.
Good.
Yeah. Good. Take this. I'll speak up. Okay. But we're still getting it. Okay, can we click, please? Right, where do I come from? Well, I'm British by nationality, and I used to work for University of Stirling, where we had the courses running in Vietnam. But for the last 8 years, I've been really privileged to work at a university called USI, which stands for Università Svizzera Italiana, which means I speak Italian and English. And we are one of the 12 public universities of Switzerland, based in Lugano, which is on the border. How do I do it? Maybe I'll turn my phone off as well. Which is on the border with Italy, and about 1 hour from Milan. Okay, so hence why we do courses in English and also in Italian. We're a young university. We're only 29 years old, and we're a small university. We have just over 4,000 students at present, and we have lots of professors. We have a very good. So as I said, we have a very high ratio, and it means we do very good in.
Professor, so in the slide, so for MC.
Oh, sorry, you've got to explain. Yeah,
because to make sure oriented from the online.
Yes, don't
Sorry for the interruption a little bit. Dạ, slide thứ hai thì chúng ta có USI là một trong 12 đại học công lập tại Thụy Sĩ và thuộc hệ thống của Swiss Universities. Trường có 6 khoa hoạt động đa ngành như kiến trúc, truyền thông, khoa học tính toán, y sinh, kinh tế, luật, v.v. Và USI nổi bật với môi trường học tập năng động, liên ngành, quốc tế và cởi mở, tạo điều kiện để cho sinh viên và nhà nghiên cứu tự do trong việc sáng tạo và phát triển. Trường hiện tại có 3.922 sinh viên và khoảng 1.008 giảng viên, nhà nghiên cứu đến từ 144 quốc gia, với các cơ sở tại Lugano, Mendrisio và Bellinzona. USI đề cao sự tự tò mò và đổi mới trong việc thử nghiệm học thuật và giảng dạy.
One moment. So we have just over 4,000 students. We have 1,000 professors and researchers, and these come from 144 different countries. So we're very vibrant, very multicultural, and also it means there is a real personal relationship between professors and students. Okay. So we do well in the rankings currently. We're number 9th in the world amongst small universities, less than 5,000. Caltech is number 1 currently at the moment. And in the young university rankings, we're currently 44th universities less than 50 years old. Thank you.
Và xếp hạng đặc điểm nổi bật của USI, top 9 thế giới trong bảng xếp hạng The World's Best Small University năm 2024, các trường đại học nhỏ với dưới quy mô là dưới 5.000 sinh viên. Top 44 toàn cầu trong hệ thống The Young University Rankings 2024, các trường đại học trẻ dưới 50 năm thành lập.
About me, I'm a Dean of Faculty. We have 5 faculties. Communications, my faculty, medicine, architecture, economics, and informatics computing. We also have an affiliated faculty in theology. So I'm in charge of about 1,000 students, and I have about 100 professors working for me. So my professorship is actually in media economics. So I teach a lot of economics and management courses. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so one of my research areas, which I published a book last year, is in climate change. And climate change, as we know, especially in Vietnam, has led to the increase in land and sea temperatures associated with things like global warming. We're seeing increased levels of pollution in many cities. That's also another linked problem. And also we're seeing problems linked to biodiversity. We're also seeing onset of more frequent extreme weather events, floods, typhoons, droughts. Again, I don't need to tell you here in Vietnam, as you are experiencing these extreme weather events on a more frequent basis. Now, those affected by climate change are all of us, but arguably one of the groups most affected are young people. We have 1.8 billion young people between 15 and 24 on Earth today. And so my focus for today's research is on young people.
Tác động của biến đổi khí hậu và vai trò của người trẻ trong môi trường hiện nay. Biến đổi khí hậu đang gây ra sự bất định nghiêm trọng cho tương lai, đặc biệt là ảnh hưởng đến thế hệ trẻ. Hiện có khoảng 1.8 tỷ người từ 10 đến 24 tuổi, thế hệ trẻ đông đảo nhất trong lịch sử. Và người trẻ nhận thức rất rõ về các rủi ro và thách thức do biến đổi khí hậu, đồng thời coi đó là cơ hội để ảnh hưởng tới sự phát triển bền vững. Việt Nam cũng không ngoại lệ. Họ đóng vai trò là một trong những phần quan trọng trong việc yêu cầu trách nhiệm từ các lãnh đạo và hành động vì môi trường. Người trẻ hiện giờ không còn là nạn nhân mà còn là tác nhân tích cực tạo ra sự thay đổi thông qua giáo dục, khoa học, công nghệ và kỹ năng cá nhân.
But I don't want to paint young people as just purely victims. Young people are engaging with climate change. They are becoming our leading scientists. They are becoming our leading activists. They are actually engaging with the problem. So I think there's a lot of positive developments as well as negative developments. So I want to stress both points today. Can we go forward? Now, Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the UN, is under no illusions when he says, "My generation has largely failed until now to preserve both justice in the world and to preserve the planet. It is your generation, young people, that must make us be accountable to make sure that we don't betray the future of humankind." So no pressure. Okay, it's up to you. You fail, we fail. Okay? That's enough to cause anxiety from the very start, I would suggest. But I think he does say it in good faith.
Tổng thư ký Liên Hiệp Quốc Antonio Guterres cũng từng thừa nhận rằng thế hệ của ông đã thất bại trong việc bảo vệ công lý toàn cầu và hành tinh. Ông kêu gọi thế hệ trẻ hành động, yêu cầu trách nhiệm từ các lãnh đạo hiện tại để không phản bội lại tương lai và nhân loại. Và việc mà chúng ta bảo vệ môi trường là do chính bản thân mình.
More importantly, perhaps, for World Health Organization, the health organization run through the United Nations, has for the last certainly 3 or 4 years increasingly written about the links between climate change and mental disorders. Okay? Even if you went on their website, there was a long article on the 25th of May, just a few weeks ago. There are major reports now coming out, linking climate change, its effects, both direct and indirect, and the quality of mental health, especially amongst young people. And the World Health Organization has been very clear about that.
Cảm giác bị phản bội và bất lực góp phần làm trầm cảm sâu sắc về vấn đề sức khỏe tâm thần. Dù lo âu không khí không phải là bệnh lý nhưng nó có thể gây ra tổn thương tâm lý nghiêm trọng, nhất là thiếu hành động từ chính phủ. Nhóm dễ bị tổn thương sẽ là nhóm người chịu ảnh hưởng nặng nề nhất.
And it's what is called a culture of uncare. But basically governments are letting down their young people by not taking things seriously, leaving the burden for climate change to the future rather than the present, please.
Văn hóa không quan tâm, thiếu hành động khí hậu từ những người có quyền lực đang làm trầm trọng thêm khủng hoảng tâm lý ở giới trẻ. Sức khỏe tinh thần được bảo vệ kỹ nếu như được ứng phó, hành động và sự hỗ trợ từ xã hội. Tuy nhiên, người trẻ cảm thấy bị phớt lờ khi mà chính phủ, người có quyền lực không hành động trước biến đổi khí hậu. Lo âu khí hậu không chỉ đến từ môi trường mà còn do sức khỏe, còn do sự thất vọng trước văn hóa không quan tâm từ chính quyền và không coi trọng cảm xúc và nhu cầu hành động của giới trẻ. Tổn thương đạo đức moral injury xuất hiện khi chính phủ vi phạm giá trị đạo đức cơ bản như trách nhiệm bảo vệ sống và môi trường.
Okay, so how can we protect mental health? Well, education is commonly cited as one way of making students resilient to some of the negative messaging, but also for helping and enabling their activity. So us as educators is commonly seen as being amongst the most important influencers, okay, in terms of how we can teach young people about this. And that's also, it's about framing. How do we teach it? How do we frame the topic? And it's very much, I think many are arguing now, it's about problems, yes, but it's also about potential solutions. So I would argue that we have a fundamental role to play in how we shape the debate and how we shape young people's thinking. Thank you.
Các yếu tố bảo vệ sức khỏe tinh thần, những chiến lược bảo vệ sức khỏe tâm thần trong bối cảnh biến đổi khí hậu, khuyến khích người trẻ tham gia thảo luận và hành động khí hậu giúp cho họ cảm thấy họ có vai trò thay vì là bất lực, để nhìn lại nhận thức xem biến đổi khí hậu là vấn đề chung để có thể giải quyết, từ đó thúc đẩy hành vi tích cực và bảo vệ môi trường. Giáo dục môi trường giúp cho nâng cao vấn đề hiểu biết, thái độ và hành vi có trách nhiệm với thiên nhiên. Kết nối xã hội và hành động tập thể là yếu tố mạnh mẽ bảo vệ tâm lý, giúp người trẻ đối phó tốt hơn với lo âu khí hậu.
So, coming to me, I'm a communications expert. Okay, I'm a Dean of Faculty of Communications. So where do I come into this? Well, I teach social marketing. Okay, and much of the messaging around climate change on social media, on TV, on radio, is linked to social marketing. Either companies doing corporate social responsibility, or NGO groups, activists, seeking to persuade us as to the merits of their argument. So I'm looking at social marketing, I'm looking at campaigns, and I'm speaking to young people about what they like, what they dislike, what they think is harmful to them. Currently I have about 60 students involved, okay, in Europe and in Asia. And the methodology I use, because I'm just sampling young people, it's very purposive. It's not representational. Okay? So, as I said, we've got about 60 people involved at the moment. Thank you.
Và đây là nghiên cứu và phương pháp của chúng tôi. Mục tiêu nghiên cứu nhằm để tìm hiểu nhận thức và hành động của người trẻ từ 18 đến 26 tuổi về biến đổi khí hậu và truyền thông khí hậu, đặc biệt là các chiến dịch xã hội liên quan. Phương pháp sử dụng thảo luận nhóm bằng câu hỏi và phỏng vấn, áp dụng kỹ thuật lấy mẫu có chủ đích purposive sampling, lựa chọn người tham gia không ngẫu nhiên mà theo tiêu chí xác định. Phạm vi này thì tiến hành tại 2 quốc gia, châu Âu và một nước ở châu Á là Indonesia, có 60 người tham gia.
Thank you. So, these are all direct quotes from participants in the groups. They're telling me their experiences, what they find hopeful, what they find damaging, okay? I won't read the whole thing. But I mean, for example, you know, we had one participant talking about the doomsday climate reports that often create a sense of impending disaster without offering clear solutions, which can overwhelmingly raise, or which can be overwhelming, even though raising awareness is important. Put that against some of the other campaigns, say Ecosia's tree planting campaign, and people see a lot more hope and a lot more, you know, solutions. So it's, you know, it plays both ways so far. We're getting good results and we're getting bad results.
Chiến dịch tích cực và tiêu cực. Đối với chiến dịch tích cực, ví dụ về Ecosia Tree Planting, mỗi lượt tìm kiếm trên Internet góp phần trồng cây, giúp người trẻ cảm thấy có ý nghĩa và tác động tích cực đến môi trường. Đây là minh chứng cho việc ứng dụng công nghệ vì lợi ích môi trường và cộng đồng. Đối với chiến dịch tiêu cực, một số báo cáo khí hậu tập trung vào thảm họa và thiệt hại nhưng không đưa ra giải pháp rõ ràng, gây cảm giác sợ hãi, bất lực ở người xem, đặc biệt là ở giới trẻ.
Now, participants are complaining about campaigns that cause anxiety and stress, okay, and present hopelessness. Okay, can we play this? Can we play that? I just want you to see this video, 5 minutes, okay? That's the advert.
Beyond a doubt that the Earth is getting warmer. This global warming is caused by things you grown-ups do, and by the things you don't. If drastic measures aren't taken soon, by the time I grow up, there won't be any fish left in the sea. Rainforests and clean air will be a thing of the past. The polar ice caps will be gone, oceans will rise, entire countries will disappear. Life will change in ways you can't even imagine. There could be famine, worldwide epidemics, life expectancy will be lower. And we're not just talking about the future, we're talking about my future. This is no surprise. You adults have known about this for years, and though you could have done something about it, you haven't. You can say, it's not my problem. You can say, I won't be around in 50 years. But from now on, you can't say I didn't know. Starting today, the lines are drawn. You have to choose sides. Either you're for my future, or you're against it. You're a friend, or you're an enemy. It may just be a kid today, but tomorrow will be different. This is the last time I'll be talking to you adults. You've had your chance to fix this problem. Now we have ours. We won't be cute, we won't be patronized, and we will not be denied our future.
Okay, quite strong stuff. When I grow up, there will be no more fish. The polar ice caps will have melted. Okay, there will be no future. That video was made by Greenpeace. I have a lot of respect for Greenpeace, but that is the type of video social marketing campaign people are complaining about, because that wasn't made this year, that was made in 2007. It was made nearly 20 years ago. He has grown up. Okay? We do have fish. We do have polar ice caps. Okay? But it's not also to denigrate what he says. There was a worldwide epidemic. It's called COVID. Okay? There is more microplastics now in our fish, which are feeding their way into the human food chain. So, you know, some of what he's saying is very, 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 very apt. But there's also a sense of hopelessness there. You're either for me or you're against me. Okay? It's quite frightening. I find it quite frightening, you know, to watch. It's that kind of debate. What does that do for people's ideas of climate change? Does it provoke them? Or does it cause anxiety? And that's exactly what we're trying to do with this piece of research. So, please.
Sức khỏe tinh thần, truyền thông về khí hậu cần tạo cảm hứng thay vì là gây áp lực tâm lý. Chiến dịch thành công như là Ecoja trồng cây giúp cho người trẻ cảm thấy có hy vọng, động lực và vai trò trong nỗ lực toàn cầu. Tuy nhiên có quá nhiều thông tin tiêu cực và thiếu giải pháp rõ ràng có thể gây ra vấn đề lo âu, sinh thái, cảm giác choáng ngợp và mất động lực. Điều quan trọng ở đây là cân bằng giữa nâng cao nhận thức và hành động cụ thể, dẫn đến việc hỗ trợ sức khỏe tâm thần cho người trẻ.
So, as I said, it's a story with two sides. It's about giving hope. Okay, and there are very good examples out there. Likewise, there are also bad examples. Okay, it's important to balance education with actionable steps so that young people don't feel overwhelmed or discouraged. So how can we help social marketing to improve that kind of message? Please.
Và hướng đi tiếp theo là kế hoạch nghiên cứu trong giai đoạn tới, bao gồm mở rộng quy mô nghiên cứu, thực hiện phân tích tổng hợp meta-analysis, kết hợp phương pháp định tính và định lượng dựa trên dữ liệu từ phản hồi khán giả và chuẩn bị cho năm 2026.
Okay, go forward. I think you just explained this next one. Yeah, next one. Perfect. Well, we're at the initial stages. We've just undertaken the first piece of empirical research with 60 participants, and we're currently going through the data analysis before we publish. I'm publishing a book next year. I published a book on climate change last year, and the second edition is coming out next year, and there will be a chapter on this. We obviously are starting to look for Swiss National Science Foundation funding to do a larger study. We're also, in terms of our literature review, we're looking at possibilities of doing a meta-analysis. In other words, trying to, either through quantitative means, in terms of finding out just how much research is out there and just what it's saying to us. So we're probably going to try and start to expand beyond the qualitative to do more quantitative data. Very much, I'm very much a participant observer. I often use participants and audience data in my work, and as I said, the book project is coming out at the end of next year, 2026, probably January 2027 will be likely publication.
Và trong phần chuyên môn nghiên cứu này thì cuốn sách sẽ được ra mắt vào năm 2026 và cũng có thể được chính thức ra mắt vào tháng 1 năm 2027, bao gồm những vấn đề trong kế hoạch nghiên cứu giai đoạn, mở rộng quy mô nghiên cứu và thực hiện phân tích tổng hợp, kết hợp giữa phương pháp định tính và định lượng dựa trên dữ liệu từ phản hồi của khán giả và chuẩn bị cho dự án 2026.
So, in conclusion, basically I want to make a few links. First of all, climate change is a reality. Okay, I think there is consensus amongst a large group of scientists linked to sustainability and climate, saying that the world is getting warmer, that the seas are changing, the ice caps are changing. Therefore, we are seeing climate change. This is not always accepted. Some governments are still have their heads buried in sand about this issue. Second, climate change is causing or helping to feed an epidemic of mental health problems amongst young people. It is not the only reason, but if the World Health Organization is saying 1 in 7 of young people have problems, what will it be in 10 years' time? 1 in 5, 1 in 4? What's going on here? Okay, I think we're just waking up to a major problem. Thirdly, many young people and all adults now, how do we get our information? We get our information through these. Okay? Social media, advertising, marketing. What's going on related to climate change in terms of what people are consuming? And are those campaigns providing hope, or are they providing despair? Fourthly, we will never be able to isolate completely different variables, different factors. Okay? We know that the family are important, societies are important, governments are important. But arguably the mass media are becoming more intrusive, okay, and take up more and more of our time. Maybe it's not linked to climate change, maybe it's linked to the technology. When every year I ask my students, okay, be honest, how long are you staying on these things each day? 4, 5, 6. One student said 10 hours a day. Do we really know the effects of that? Probably not. And I don't think climate change should take the burden for all the problems of the world. So, thank you very much. I did say I would stay to an hour. I've done that. And I appreciate any questions you have. But thank you again to SSBM for the very kind invitation. And I'm so delighted to see you here today. It's a great honour, personal honour for me, and it's great to be back in preaching. Thank you.
We are now moving to the Q&A session, and please raise your hand if you have any question, and our microphone will bring it to you. Thank you. Bất kỳ câu hỏi nào thì có thể đặt cho phía của diễn giả và microphone sẽ được đưa tới ạ.
Khỏi phone đây mình biến đổi quá.
Chắc nữa đập rip các anh chị xíu. Giáo sư này là bậc thầy về truyền thông. Sau này thì có rất nhiều năm viết sách, làm nghiên cứu này kia về truyền thông từ nước Anh sang Thụy Sĩ. Thì thầy mới nghiên cứu một cái đề tài lớn hơn là biến đổi khí hậu, nó phục vụ cái gì cho quốc tế, cho nhân loại. Đó thì hiện tại trong tay của thầy, trong tay của giáo sư thì có cái hàng trăm giáo sư khác ở châu Âu. Đó thì đây cũng là cái dịp mà các anh chị có thể hỏi bất kỳ câu hỏi gì. Thứ nhất là về đề tài về biến đổi khí hậu, hoặc là hỏi vấn đề về kinh nghiệm nghiên cứu. Và nói thẳng luôn là nghiên cứu về định tính và định lượng, nghiên cứu định lượng rất dễ publish bài, nhưng mà nghiên cứu định tính rất khó để publish bài. Đó, mà thầy là bậc thầy về nghiên cứu định tính. Đó thì hiện nay thầy viết sách rất nhiều và giáo sư cũng có hơn coi như là mấy chục, gần cái trăm bài về publish trên những cái high ranking. Đó, thành thử về kinh nghiệm nghiên cứu này kia là các chị có thể hỏi.
But that kind of, it's a very interesting video. I've always please.
Okay, thank you. Your presentation very interesting. But how about seeing what the role of the big government for the problem? For example, on the world, will the problem leave a hand for the big government? Right?
Yes, I wouldn't say you're wrong. I think much of the solutions for climate change really lie with government, because we need big solutions for big problems, and they're infrastructure problems as well. It's about energy, it's about heating, it's about air conditioning, it's about transport. Okay, it's about industry. It's about models of economic growth. Okay, even things like fast fashion. Okay, this is not fast, and it's probably not fashion, but fast fashion today takes up 10% of CO2 emissions. It's one of the dirtiest industries we have. And what are we doing about fast fashion? But if you do something, what happens to all the workers in Bangladesh, in Vietnam? There's trade-offs here. Because these industries are also providing jobs, incomes. So governments are tending to prevaricate, not take strong arguments and solutions. So I do think that a lot of problem is at a national level, an international level. But when it comes down to it, it's only our voices which can help make governments change their mind. So I do think it does come down to individuals as well. But I think it's a very strong argument you make. We can drive these things, but unless it has the full support of governments, and we see the Trump administration is saying drill baby drill and all those kind of things, but also we have terrible ecological damage being caused through wars, in Ukraine, between Iran and Israel at the moment. These are notoriously eco-destroying events. And it's not an easy solution. Please.
Professor Matthew, regarding your study, about the sampling of 60 audience or people in Europe and Indonesia, right? So, do you have any sample of Vietnamese audience?
No, but I would like to do so.
But I hope that you have some or maybe you have some interview with them about it.
Yeah, I would like to do that. It's when I say at the end to make the study larger, I'm saying a Vietnam partner would be great. Okay, I mean I think it would be good to actually look at Vietnamese. I sense that some of the issues will be common, but as we see always in differences in national cultures, national languages, this kind of tends to bring out different concerns related to different understandings, different living conditions.
Yeah, the reason why I just asked you that because I'm very who's really are cared about climate change and all that. Based on what
I do. When I was teaching. That might be, I don't think it's in the book, but I talk about young people in the book, the book I did in 2023, 2024, about the barriers to activity. And there are a lot of barriers to activity. For example, public transport. How do you get to work each day? How do you get to university each day? Can you get public transport? Do you have a metro system? No. Okay, or do you have to get on a Honda? Okay, those kind of issues, barrier. Okay, family circumstance. Well, I come from a rural area. My parents are farmers, relatively poor. It's going to be me who needs to earn money. I'm not worried about climate. I'm worried about my career. Okay, because I'm going to have to fund my parents in their old age. Barrier. Okay, so we do know a lot about the barriers. Some of those, areas which young people say, if there were a metro system, I wouldn't have to go by one. But we know how much those kind of systems work. So yes, I would love to do a follow-up study on Vietnam, and B, we do have an idea on what young people think.
Yeah, if you want to do that, I can help you because I'm in charge of the faculty of the international exchange program in our university, and I can help you to do that.
Delighted. Thank you. Please, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much for your presentation. It's very informative. As I'm very interested in your research, and I'm also doing my TBA. Also, the dissertation is about the impact of ESG on the corporate financial performance. So, could you please tell us more about three things in your research? First, because I'm very interested in your research model theoretical framework. The second is the methodology, and the third one, do you have any, say, something like theoretical implications or practical implications in your research? Thank you.
Currently we're doing the third part of that in terms of understanding. We're doing the data analysis at the moment, so we haven't tied it up to any of the literature. Okay. In terms of the methodologies, as I said, I've tended to be a qualitative. I've done quants as well. I've done large representative studies in the past, mainly for governments or for research organisations. But I tend to do qualitative. What I'm interested in, the numbers, but I'm also interested in the motives. And sometimes when you do quantitative stuff, it doesn't tell you what's underneath.
Yes, right.
So I think the perfect piece of research is both. And I've done research which does both. I can do a representative 2,000 survey, 2,000 people. I can get the basic data. But then you go in and you do your focus groups, your interviews, etc. And you say, well, why are people saying this? Why are people saying that? So that's how I tend to come to do research. In terms of frameworks, okay, this is an interesting one because I've supervised about 20 PhD students. Okay. and what I say, when people say this is my theoretical framework, I say, right, that's your literature review, is it? Okay. I think we do look at different theoretical arguments. We fit in between those arguments. Whether we're creating a whole new framework, sometimes I think it's slightly oversold. I don't know. I'm not sure. But what I do know that a good doctorate is a piece of work where your empirical research is telling us about the other work, the other theory, empirical research out there. Now, what does this research say about your work, but what does your work say about other work? How is your work pushing the boundaries? And for me, that's what a PhD is. Now, whether you're coming up with a whole new theoretical framework, or whether you're kind of using synergies, you're kind of saying, well, this, for example, I've just finished an Indian student, and he was looking at financial analysis and its impact on news channels. Okay, and well, one of the things was that he was looking at Western theories because that's where much of the academic growth started. But increasingly, he's not using theoretical frameworks. He's using Indian theory. Because basically, as we know, if you go to India, you'll know it's got what 1,300,000 people. It's got 9 national languages. But actually, the theory which is developed in the States sometimes can be very little sort of applicable. So again, sometimes I think, well, so his thesis was very long. He went through all the Western theories and all the Eastern theories. And he came up with an amalgam, but I wouldn't say it was necessarily a new framework.
This is something like more grounded theory.
Yeah, grounded theory, exactly. Yeah, I mean, as a method, but grounded theory is also a methodological tool. Okay? Yeah, something like that. Yes, hello.
Hi. Thank you for Professor Matthew for your very informative sharings today. We are FastLink. We are in textile industry. Yeah, and our company follows sustainable and smart textile for nearly 2 decades.
Well done.
We just celebrate 17 years old celebration, and we in recent 10 years we much care about climate change on the clothing culture.
Yeah.
Yes, and we believe that if we want to fix completely the climate change, it takes time. So we think that the clothing can be a quick solution to deal with the climate change.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a lot of new technology from the yarn, from the clothing to protect the health, people health from the damage of the weather that unpredictable now, and we want to raise that awareness because the clothing textile industry is second polluted and cause a lot of like CO2 emission and the chemical, that is and so I want to ask the professor about what proper approach to raise awareness about sustainable fashion and the climate change, because we believe that I like your saying that knowing about the solution for environmental is giving hope and motivation.
Fantastic. So what a great question, and I tell you why. You see, I talk about marketing, but I'm useless at marketing. Back in my hotel room, I have copies of my book. Did I bring my book with me? No, I didn't. Okay. Now I've actually studied textiles. I have a good colleague in Bangladesh.
Yes.
And so one of the chapters in the book is about fast fashion.
Yes.
Okay, and so I've actually researched this. I researched this in about 2021, just after COVID. Okay, and you've got a lot of challenges because it runs from the production of cotton through the manufacturing of the raw materials, the dyeing of materials, the production process, okay, and then of course distribution. Then you've got retailing, you've got the use of plastics in terms of shipping. And of course you've got supply chains. We know textiles has very complex manufacturing supply chains. Okay, therefore contractors, subcontractors, sub-subcontractors. So we know you have a lot of challenges in the industry. Okay, You say you've been working on it for the past 10 years. Congratulations. I think that's quite wonderful to hear. But you will know that it's an ongoing challenge.
Still a lot. So we must like join hands globally for this. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not easy because, you know, again, it's about educating the consumer. You know, the consumer doesn't need a new suit every month. They don't need new shoes every month. Okay, yet, of course, you need to sell products. So there's a balance here between actually educating consumers saying, look, you know, reuse your clothes. Why don't you repair your clothes? Okay, just don't throw away. Okay, that kind of mentality. But as a production, of course, it's your sourcing of your raw materials. It's what kind of production processes you're using, what kind of, you know, with things like water as well. You know, what chemicals are you using in your production? Again, you know, what kind of supply chains do you have? Do you know that your contractors are equally committed? So it's a really, really complex one. I mean, Bangladesh, it's the largest industry in Bangladesh. $40 billion, whatever it is. You know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of jobs. Okay, on the one hand, if we stop buying things, Bangladesh will go bankrupt. And it's a poor country already. And yet, what's textiles doing to pollution, to the quality of rivers, to sea life, fish? You know, what's happening here? Okay, I really am, it's a very, very, because I've studied it, it's a really fascinating, and you've got a really lot of challenges, because a lot of companies say, oh yes, yes, but really it's all greenwashing. They want money, money, money. Okay? Not everyone, and I'm not, you know, textiles are very important for Vietnam. Vietnam textile industry is incredibly important. You know, hence why, you know, when Donald Trump says 100% tariffs, we know that Vietnam and companies like Nike are really affected by that. Okay? It's a lot of challenges there, but it's every stage of the process, from start to finish. I mean, have you cut back on plastics, for example? Are you using alternative materials? That's one question.
Yes. We have wide range products get ready for those things that you are mentioned. Yes, yeah. And I hope this will be globally welcome. Yeah.
Again, yes. You know, where do you source your materials? Are they local or are they global? Are you, you know, do you grow your own cotton, or are you sourcing it from